Hi guys, welcome to our second video. We just spoke about this past weekend, and we're making sure that we bring you guys content that is inspirational and content that is always making sure that you guys grow over time. And today, this past weekend's topic was on Philia, uh, relationships, and this is because of the relationship that I had with my friend who just recently passed away. And those are some of the things that made me or that inspired me to speak about the art of friendship or the art of making sure that you build good, meaningful relationships. So today we're going to have an introduction, a reading of the word, and we're going to expand a bit on the focus of filial love. So today's content is filial love, or philos, as some people might say. And then we're going to conclude with our session at the end of the session. So philosophia love is the kind of love that makes you a good friend. So it helps you become a better friend over time. So what does it mean to become a good friend to others? It means that you make sure that you are a good friend. You visit your friends. You make sure that you spend time with your friends and you are there with them when they grieve, and you go through the highs and the lows with them. So no matter what life brings in their life, you're always there with them at all times as a good friend, loving them at all times, making sure that you give them the best that you can. So the scripture reading comes from Job chapter number 11, Job chapter number 2, verse 11 to 12, and then 13 is going to be our key verse. So we're going to look at that. So now we'll start with verse 11. It says, Now when Job's three friends heard of all the adversities that had come upon him, each one came from his own place. Elizaphan, the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Namathite, for they had an appointment together and come to mourn with him and to comfort him. So this is the first verse. So they came together, these three friends, and they went to comfort Job. So when Job had lost all his wealth and all his family, and these three friends came. So 12 says, and when they raised their eyes from afar and did not recognize him, they lifted their voices and wept. So they wept with him, and each one tore his robes and sprinkled dust on his head toward heaven. And then the key verse, or the verse that is very crucial, is that they sat down with him on the ground for 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his grief was great. So they didn't say a word to him, but they made sure that they see the grief in him. So now this is very important. So as we expand on filial love, or the art of becoming a good friend, or the art of becoming a good friend as part of the relationships, or this module on relationships, we're trying to make sure that we expand on the knowledge that you guys have. So these are some of the extracts, or these are some of the lessons that we get out of the verses. So what did Job's friends do? They did six things. Firstly, they left their homes to visit Job. So you gotta leave your comfort place to visit your friends. So you gotta make sure that you make time to visit your friends when they're in times of grief. And they agreed to sympathize and comfort Job. So you have to agree and be in agreement to make sure that you sympathize and empathize with those who are going through grief, and especially your friends who are going through a tough time in their lives. And they began to weep aloud. That's number three. So number three, make sure that you write these things down, as those who are present in the class have notebooks, and make sure that you come with notebooks to class so that you can write these things down. And as you watch the videos, have a notebook and your pen and paper handy to write whatever notes that I'm trying to bring to you guys to your attention. So make sure that you understand these things. And number four, they tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads. So they shared in the grief. So they tore their clothes to show that we are as afflicted and as affected by your situation, Job, as you are, Job, our friend. We are afflicted and affected by it, so much so that as you tear your clothes, we will tear our clothes as well and sprinkle dust on our heads so that we empathize and sympathize with you. And they sat with him on the ground, number five, for 7 days and 7 nights. So number five, make sure that you sit with your friends for a while they grieve. So that's why in most cases in our culture as Black people, we find that we normally the funeral is about a week later after it has happened. So that week that we are going through grief, people come to comfort us, come to mourn with us, and come to empathize and sympathize with us. So, and make sure that you see the distress. So number six, they saw and they could see how distressed he was. So you have to be able to see the distress in the people who are going through difficult times in their lives. So we spoke about this past weekend, making sure that you guys understand what it is that you understand throughout the context of making sure that you give the best of yourself towards your people that are in your life and towards the people that are understanding what it is that you're trying to understand and what it is that you're trying to give. So you don't just give your time freely, but you give it with an understanding that you have to see the distress in the other person so that you become a better person over time. So in life, we need friends who we can count on, and you need to be a friend that is able to come through for other people as well. So the conclusion is that you need to break bread with your friends and be there for your friends and comfort them during their time of grief. Empathize. So to empathize is to feel the pain, but to sympathize is to be away from the pain. But when you feel the pain, when you empathize with people during their downtime, they will always remember you at any given time. And I gave the prime example of people like us who were always making sure that I had a relationship with my friends, or who was Unsezwa Kumalo with the yo-yo test. I gave that example in class. So remember that whatever it is that you're going through, you go through it with your friends, and pray for your friends when they're going through a time of grief and distress so that they become better Christians over time. And that's my contact details. Make sure that you contact us if you've got any questions that you might have at the end of the session. So that's just the session for us for today. So thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.